All right, welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. We're diving into something, well, pretty deep today. Sublimation.
Yes, sublimation. I love this topic. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Taking those difficult emotions, maybe impulses too, and turning them into something positive.
Right, like using that energy for good. Turning those lemons into lemonade, as they say. And for this deep dive, we've got some amazing source material. Basically, it's a set of personal responses to some pretty open-ended questions about sublimation.
I was reading through these earlier, and I was really struck by, just how honest and open the responses were.
Yeah, for sure. Really gets you thinking, huh? And the first question, just to kind of set the scene here, it asks, how do people find creative outlets to deal with stress or overwhelming emotions?
Yeah. That's something I think we can all relate to, right? I mean, we've all been there. Life throws those curveballs.
Oh, absolutely. So
Yeah.
how do we deal? What's the answer?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the response in the source material really resonated with me because they talked about how they struggle with that, finding that consistent outlet.
Really?
Yeah, they mentioned that they yearn for that in-the-zone feeling, that sense of purpose you get when you really connect with a creative outlet. But they admitted that maintaining that, it's a challenge.
It's funny because I feel like that too sometimes. Like you can't always be on,
Yeah.
you know, finding that spark and then keeping it lit.
Exactly. It's not like you can just flip a switch, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing to remember about sublimation. It's a process. It can be messy.
So what's the solution? If you're struggling, how do you find that outlet?
I think, this is where self-compassion is so crucial. Don't beat yourself up if you're having trouble consistently channeling difficult emotions. It doesn't mean you're failing.
That's such a good point. It's more about the journey than the destination.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so the next question we have here asks, can you recall a time when you channeled negative energy into a productive accomplishment?
Oh, that's a good one. Let me see. What did they say?
Well, it's interesting. They believe they've done it, but they couldn't really pinpoint a specific time.
That makes sense to me, actually. It's like sometimes these things just happen naturally.
Right.
Like they compared it to, get this, turning copper into gold.
Oh.
Right, which I think perfectly captures that effort and also the potential of sublimation. But then they also acknowledge that, sometimes pushing too hard can backfire.
Ooh, yeah, like
They're-
trying to force it too much.
Exactly. Sometimes you just got to trust the process, let it unfold naturally.
Yeah,
And I think that self-awareness is so important, knowing when to push and when to step back.
I totally agree. It's all about that balance.
So this brings up another question, and I think it's a big one. Is sublimation always a conscious choice? Because our brains, they're always working, right? Processing emotions, experiences. Sometimes we might channel those emotions into our work or our hobbies without even realizing it.
Huh. It's like a subconscious release then.
It could be, yeah, like an automatic safety valve.
Interesting. Okay, so moving on to the next question, it asks, what motivates people to transform pain or struggles into inspiration for others?
And I found this response really powerful. They said they believe that negative feelings actually have a purpose.
Yeah, it's kind of a reframing of how we typically view negativity, right? They're
Yeah.
suggesting that maybe these feelings aren't inherently bad. Instead, they could be seen as opportunities for growth, for learning.
That's a really positive way to look at it.
It is, isn't it? And I think it taps into something deeper, too, that human need to find meaning even in the tough times.
And also, when we share our struggles, we let others know they're not alone in their pain. It can offer hope and build connections. Absolutely. It's like taking that individual pain and turning it into something collective, something that can heal. And when we share our stories, it helps others feel seen, understood.
It can be so empowering.
And it can give people the strength to face their own challenges.
Okay, so the last question we're going to look at today is, how can teaching or mentoring others help in dealing with personal hardships?
Ooh, I like this one. It's about shifting our perspective.
Yeah. The source pointed out that it's often easier to see solutions for other people's problems than for our own.
That's so true. When we're caught up in our own stuff, our thinking can get cloudy. But when we help someone else, we can be more objective, see things more clearly.
It's like having a fresh pair of eyes on the situation.
Exactly. And they mentioned that they feel more clear-headed when they are trying to help someone else. It's like taking a step back from your own worries to help them with theirs.
Right.
And think about it. By helping others, we're not only giving them support, but we're also making ourselves organize our own thoughts and emotions. And that can often lead to insights we can use in our own lives.
So it's kind of like a two-way street.
Exactly. It's a win-win.
So I think we covered a lot today. It's clear that sublimation isn't just a simple process. There are conscious elements, subconscious elements.
Ups and downs, times when it's easy, times when it's hard.
Exactly. And what I found really insightful from all these responses is that they show just how powerful it can be to transform those difficult emotions into something positive.
Totally agree. And sometimes even inspirational, right?
Absolutely.
So, as you go about your day today, I want you to think about this. What are some specific strategies that you can use to channel those, well, sometimes tough emotions into something positive?
That's a great question. I'll definitely be thinking about that.
I know I will. Whether it's through, creative things, problem solving, helping others, I don't know. There are so many possibilities.
The possibilities really are endless.
And just like sublimation itself, I think it's an ever-evolving process.
Well said. All right, that's it for today's deep dive. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks for joining us.